Alright, so today I'm going to show you two things. First, I'm going to show you how to install Fedora Linux onto your dual boot or a virtual hard drive. I'm going to show you both of those. I'm going to use a virtual operating system through Hyper-V, and I'll show you how to install an operating system on Hyper-V and set it all up. So if you're only here to watch how to install Linux, when a link pops up to take you to a different portion of the video, that'll be the portion of installing Fedora. For now, I'd suggest you keep watching because I'll show you where to download Fedora at. You're going to go to fedoraproject.org, and once you're there, you press on download, and just download now. It'll download this 916 megabyte ISO, and it'll take a little while, believe me. But once you get it, you're going to have to burn it to a CD or DVD, or put it onto a 1 gig USB stick. This is for installing it on a dual boot or installing it on an actual system. If you're just installing it onto a Hyper-V or a VirtualBox, then you don't need to burn it. You just need to have it on your computer. So for instance, mine is sitting right here, and that's what I'm going to use to install the operating system. Alright, so now if you're just here to see Fedora being installed, click this link and you're going to go right to the part of the video that's going to show that. For everybody who wants to watch me install it on Hyper-V and learn all the configuration you're going to have to do, then continue watching. So as you can see, I'm on Windows 8, and you get Hyper-V on Windows 8 for free. So once you start Hyper-V Manager, first you'll notice that I already have it installed, but I'm going to install it again just to show you guys how to do it. First thing you're going to need to do is create a virtual switch manager. This is going to be for your internet connection. So let's create one. I have one right here, but I'm going to remove that just so that I can show you how to create one from scratch. So in here you'll see pretty much nothing, no virtual switches, no nothing. So you're going to need to create one of an external type. This will allow you to be able to access the internet from your VirtualBox as well as from your host operating system. This is my host operating system. The virtual operating system would be Fedora once we get it installed, but I want connection to both of them, so I'm going to use external. You can name it whatever you want. I'm just going to leave it new virtual switch. Make sure external network is selected, and then select your PCI. This is going to be the network adapter that you have connected to your computer. If you're on a desktop, usually it's Ethernet. If you're on a laptop, then it could be wireless. If you only have one, then there's only going to be one in here. So I only have one. And then make sure this box is checked. Allow management operating system to share this network adapter. As long as that is checked, then your host operating system along with your virtual operating system will both have internet connection simultaneously. Alright, hit apply. It'll create your virtual switch, and you're done. Now, one thing, I'm going to show you this real quick. I'm going to open up my network options. Whoop, there it is. And we're going to change adapter settings. Now, you see Ethernet here. This is my main one. Disregard that. But here's my virtual switch. If you have another one in here that says VirtualBox, like from the application VirtualBox, then you need to delete this, which is what we just did. You're going to need to remove that. You need to uninstall VirtualBox, and you need to recreate the virtual switch. This is because VirtualBox and Hyper-V cannot run simultaneously. There's conflict between the two network adapters. So make sure you don't have VirtualBox installed if you're going to use Hyper-V. And if it is, you're going to have to delete this, delete VirtualBox, and recreate the switch. But we don't, so we're good. So now we need to create a new virtual machine. And this is going to take you through the new virtual machine wizard. So click next, and we're going to name our virtual machine. How to install Fedora. You can do whatever you need. And the location of the machine you can specify anywhere. I have it going to my 1.5 terabyte under our Hyper-V folder. So that's where we're going to store the virtual machine. And set up a startup memory. I have a bunch of memory, so we'll give it 4 gigs of memory. You can also have the option to use dynamic memory. so that it can fluctuate depending on what it's doing and how much RAM you have installed. Alright, and this is where we connect to the internet. So you're going to select new virtual switch. That's what my name was. Whatever you named your virtual switch, you select underneath the drop down. There should only be one. And click next, and then you're going to create the hard drive. So you can create a virtual hard disk, or use an existing hard disk, or just attach a hard disk later. We're just going to create a new one, and this is by default the name of it and the default location, so I'm going to change that because I don't need it in there. Put it here, and we'll say new folder, how to install Fedora, and select that. There we go. And we'll give it, that's enough, that's a lot of gigabytes, so we'll just do that. So press next. Now this is where you select where you're going to boot from. So you can decide this later when you start the virtual machine, or you can boot from a CD, DVD, a floppy disk, or a virtual floppy disk, or install an operating system from a network. We're going to go CD or DVD. And instead of actually going to our CD, DVD, we're going to go to an image file. Browse this to find where you place your ISO that you downloaded from fedora.com or projectfedora.com, and press open, and that'll select that. Okay, press next, and here's your overview: your name, your memory, your network, your hard disk, and your operating system. Once you're done, press finish, and it'll create your virtual machine. Alright, so now right click and press start. This will begin the virtual machine, and then press connect, and this will connect you to it. I'm going to switch to full screen mode once it starts. And now it's connecting. Almost. There we go. Alright, full screen mode. Alright, so welcome back everybody who is just installing Fedora. This is where we are going to install Fedora. This is what you're going to see either whether you're doing a virtual machine or you're actually dual booting it on with another computer. This is exactly what you're going to see with Fedora 18. With Fedoras before 18, it'll be a little bit different, but the process is still very similar. Alright, and now it's all loaded. So it's going to first load a live desktop, which is an option that it gives you so that you can test it out, try it before you actually install it onto your computer. So you can boot into this, and then it'll give you an option to install or just to try. Live system user, that's what it's called. So once you log in, it'll ask you if you want to install it or just to try it once it does load. And it's loaded, so you can see try Fedora or install to hard drive. So if you just wanted to try it out, then try Fedora. Otherwise, we're going to go to install to hard drive. If you don't select that, you will have an option on the bar on the left that will allow you to go to this part of the operating system, of the live system. Okay, select your language. We're going to stick with English because we are American. Okay, so this screen right here is new to Fedora 18, so anybody who's installing a previous version of Fedora will not see this screen, but the concept is still the same. Going to the installation destination, you have to click that, and you'll have to select the hard drive that you're going to install onto. This is the hard drive we're going to install, and continue. And continue. This is just going to tell you, hey, if you have plenty of space, that's what's going to happen. If you're dual booting, you're going to have to select the partition that you're going to install it onto. And once it loads, then press begin installation. And as it installs, you need to specify a root password. So click that and type in a root password that you will remember, and done. So now your root password is set, and we're going to install Fedora on. Alright, so finally, after all that is done, it will tell you whether it's successfully installed or not, and it did, and it will reboot your system. So quit and reboot. And if it doesn't reboot on its own, you can just power it off and restart. And there you go. It's installed, so start it. If you get that message, most of the time it means it doesn't mean anything. Sometimes it actually does. I'm not for sure on that, but at least here it doesn't do anything. And I just loaded up the CD by accident. Hang on a second. And if something goes array, just turn it off from the manager. And we're going to disconnect the DVD. There we go. None. Alright, so now it won't load the CD anymore. And start it and connect again. Alright, there we go. And that's the screen we want to see. This is the bootloader. It'll automatically load up the first one on there. So if you're dual booting, Fedora will be the first one, and then whatever Windows version will be the second one underneath that, or the third one. The second one I think is like a recovery option. So just need to make sure that if you're dual booting, you always make sure you press the down arrow to get to Windows if you want to load Windows. If you want to load Linux, just press enter or wait till the time runs out. Alright, so it loaded up. And you should be presented with your login, or actually, yeah, the welcome screen. You have to set up Fedora. So it's going to take you through a few settings to set up your account. So you need to type in your name. We're just going to type in how to install Fedora. There we go. Username is how to install Fedora. Do not add yourself to the administrators group. Linux is, you do not want to do that on Linux. You want to be a non-admin. That's why we set up the root password, so that you can set that. And create yourself a password. Oops. It'll tell you how strong it is, and tell you that if the two are correct, then it'll be a check mark. Okay, and forward we go. Synchronize your time. That's pretty much, this is all the default stuff. And once it finishes setting up, then you'll be presented with your login screen. And you click your user and enter your password. This is the password you just created. And sign in. And voila! Fedora Linux is now installed on your Hyper-V virtual machine, or dual booted on your laptop or desktop. Whatever your flavor. And just to make sure you click activities and there's all your stuff. So yep, it's working. So that is how to install Fedora Linux on a Hyper-V. Also, how to just install Fedora Linux. So, thank you for watching. There's going to be more tutorials later on. If you are interested in watching how to install LAMP onto your Fedora Linux machine, click this video or the link in the description. Alright, thank you for watching.